Welcome back to my channel. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how to use pivot table, right? So when I go through pivot tables, so the pivot table shows data checklist. So I want to go through the checklist first before we dive into adding our data into a pivot table. So the following is a list of items you should check before creating a pivot table. Pivot tables uh, are an amazingly powerful tool, and you will want to make sure your data is ready for the pivot table before you create it. This includes organizing your data, that's number one, formatting the numbers and text properly, removing blanks, and more. It is best to go over this checklist each time you create a pivot table. It will save you time and help you get the most out of your pivot table by enabling features like date grouping. So here's the thing. Number one, make sure that your data is in a tabular format if you want to upload your data into a pivot table, right? The source data, this is the data that you want to analyze. This is the data that you want to plot into a data. This is the data that you want to organize, or the data that you want to create a report for. And then make sure that the data is in a tabular format. Number two, remove the blanks. If there are any blank rows, just make sure that you remove that, right? And then number three, remove blank columns. We don't want no blank columns, no blank rows. And then number four, convert value fields into numbers. So there are some people that store number as a text. If you look at this is a number stored as a text, right? So you make sure that you store, if it's a number, store it as a number. You can see that it's on the left side of the cell, meaning that maybe they've stored it as a text then. So you have to convert that back into a number. And then the date there, you see this person has stored dates into as a text, so you need to convert that into a date format. Convert date fields to dates, so this date field must be converted into dates, so that when you want to group your data into dates, group your data using the dates, you'll be able to do that in pivot table. But if it's like this, you won't be able to. So you have to clean up your data so it can looks like this. No blank rows, no blank columns, and then your date now is correctly converted into a date. And then you can see now we've cleaned up our data. The numbers are stored as numbers. So it will be able for it will be easy for us, or pivot table will be able to plot this into into a pivot table. If you want to learn more about this, check out excelcampus.com, where John explains more. I'm just stealing his stuff here. All right, let me see. Okay, here's my source data. So this is the data where you, let's say maybe this is the data that you use as the entire organization, or let's say maybe like for example, my organization that I work for, we have like a branch in as one city called Johannesburg, and then we have other branches in Cape Town and Durban. So let's say maybe now this is the spreadsheet that we all use, all these organization use, and then you find that the main branch, the headquarters, this is where they will collect the spreadsheet coming from the Cape Town branch and then the Durban branch, and then all of that information must be stored in one spreadsheet, right? Where the main spreadsheet that is used by the organization. So this will become our source data. And then on a later stage, we want to do report. Let's say, for example, they ask us to do a report on the sum of revenue uh, by salesperson. When I find out how much money each salesperson has made for this organization. For example, we have like the salesperson column there. You can see these are all of our sales personnel that we have in this organization. So the boss is asking us that we create a report, or we send them a report that has the sum of revenue. So we have the revenue, right? Sum of revenue. So we want to find out how much money each salesperson has made for this organization, right? And then the salesperson are in this column, and then we want to find out how much money each salesperson has brought to this organization, has made for this organization. And then also, let's say you are new to this organization, you also want to find out who are the people that are doing sales for this organization, who are doing sales for this organization. So this is a spreadsheet that is all of the information of the people that are doing sales. So let me show you now how to put this data into a pivot table so we can create a report. So pivot tables is all about, you have a question and then you want to answer that question, right? So the question is that we want to find out how much money each salesperson has made for this organization. All right. So I can click inside this data, my source data, and then I go to insert. Or the other thing is you can highlight the entire data, right? Or you can just click inside the pivot table, be able to pick up your data. And then you click on pivot table, you go to insert, and then click on what? Pivot table. You see pivot table now automatically highlights your data. Okay, but it's highlighting my short data. This is not my entire data. I don't think this is my, I want a bigger data. I want data bigger than this. Where is, oh, it is my entire data. It's just that this cell is frozen here. This cell is frozen. I don't know why is it frozen there. So it says freeze cells, unfreeze panels. Okay, let me see if it's, yeah, it's no longer frozen now. So, but it was gonna work. It's just that I don't like that. Okay, let me click there again and then go back to insert. And then you can click on pivot tables and then you will see this, dialog box. Now it says table range, meaning that pivot table was able to pick up your table range. So this is your table range, and then choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. So it says new worksheet. Definitely, I want to put this data into a new worksheet because I want to play around with the data and I want space so I can see everything. Existing worksheet, that means you want the pivot table to be placed on this same spreadsheet where there is this source data in, or on the same worksheet where the source data is in, of which I don't advise that. We need to have our data or our pivot table in a new worksheet. So that we do new worksheet and then we say, okay, so here is our other side. We have like now you see automatically pivot table will open a new worksheet, and then it opens that new worksheet on the left side of your data table or your data worksheet. So this side we have the pivot table fields. These are the fields. That's why we said now your data must be placed or must be in a tabular format, and then it must have what the headers, the headings, right? So that we can use those to plot into a pivot table. So now we said the main thing that we want to do is we want to find out the revenue that each salesperson have made for this organization. So we have two things, right? We said revenue and then we said you have sales person, right? So those are the two things, two what you call field or columns that we have to work with. Some how much money the salesperson has made for this organization. So we look for you will look for a column for salesperson. There it is, and then you just click on it or you drag it. If you click on it, Excel will choose which field to add this data to, right? To add that column to. So we can drag it to rows. You can see. So the first question or the second question was that who are the salesperson for this organization? So now you can see we've answered one question, right? These are the people that are responsible for sales on this organization, right? So now number two, what we want to do is we want to find out how much money each person has made for this organization. How much money has they made for the organization? Okay, and then so we need a column that is the revenue, right? So we have to check down where is our revenue. um, there is revenue, and then I click on it. So you can click on it, and then Excel, if you just check it, if you check that box, Excel will decide for you where to add that data or where to add that column. So it has added the column to the values because usually it has the figures, and Excel is assuming that we want to sum that. As you can see, automatically Excel or pivot table is sum is our sum of revenue by salesperson there. You can see this is what Andrew has made for this organization. And then third thing is we have managed to also get the total, how much the total amount of the revenue that each organization has made, all of the salesperson have made for this organization. So we have the grand total of that. You see, we have the grand total of the sales or some of the revenue there. So we've answered the grand total. What's the grand total of the revenue for this organization, right? There it is there. Number two, who are the salesperson working for this organization? They are the guys there doing that. And then how much money each person or salesperson has made for this organization? There we have answered that. So pivot table is powerful enough to pull up the information that you're looking for, right? So you can create the reports, you can analyze your data, and then we can do all of these things without breaking our source data. Our source data remains the same. So you can slice and dice the whole day on this until you fully understand your data. But now, let's say you have trust issues. You don't really trust that maybe the pivot table is doing the right thing, right? You want to verify. So we see, let's check here. Andrew has made 74815. That's the cells that he has made for this core organization. So let's go back to our source data so that we can check it out and see that if it's correct. We want to verify that. So it says, so I want to, filter my data by Andrew cells so that I can be able to see how much he has made. That's why it said 7 4 something, right? So let's do this. Okay, let me just do that and then check on the Andrew. So I'm filtering data I'm filtering here so that I can only see Andrew's data. I'm only interested on Andrew's data, so I want to filter that. Andrew, there is Andrew's data there. You can see now it's showing me only Andrew's data. Let's check out the revenue column. Revenue column. So that's the revenue, right? So I can highlight from there right to there and then see, you can see the sum is 74815. So it means that okay, Excel did the correct thing that side, right? So the pivot table 74185. So we verified that okay, indeed Andrew has made this revenue. That's what he has made for the organization. As you can see there, once I move my, so it says value is 74815, raw is for Andrew. So again, these are the monetary value. What you can do is you have to convert this into currency. Let's say right click that and then say where is that part? Value field settings, and then you say number format, and then you convert that into currency or accounting. Say okay. All right, there is now currency. Or you could have just gone there, just highlighted the entire data and then click there on the top. Then it was going to change that into currency. Okay, so we have managed to change that into currency. And then the next thing that we want to do now is, what if we want to present on this data? Let's say we want to plot it into a chart. So pivot table also allows you to plot your data into a chart. So we have this data now. I want to plot it into a chart, right? Or let's say maybe okay, we want to see the highest. We can sort this data. Let's see who is the highest here. Uh, Let me sort this data. Let me right click. I want to see who's the top salesperson here. Let's say sort by, let's say largest to smallest. Okay, there's my data. You can see Nancy is the top salesperson for this organization. And then we can plot our data into a chart. Okay, if you check here at the top on the tabs, then we have these contextual tabs. These tabs, they only appear when you click a certain object. So we have tabs which are called the contextual tabs that only appear when you click a certain object. You will notice that when I click somewhere here, those tabs disappear because those tabs are for controlling the pivot table. So you have to click inside the pivot table so that um, these tabs can appear again. So I've clicked on my data and then there's the pivot table analyzer. Then I can click on that. And then there's the pivot chart. Then it will allow me um, to plot my data into a chart. There it is, and then you can choose any chart. If you know how to plot data into a chart, there's nothing different when you come into the pivot table. So it's the same principle that you use when you are creating your chart. So I want this bar chart, and I say okay. So you can see I have my bar chart there. So now here is another thing that I want to do is I want to clean up my data. You see this option here is for, this option is for filtering. If you want to filter by salesperson, let's say you have specific people that you want to see on this chart here. Let's say I want to focus on John and Maria and then Robert. You can see that chart will only show me their data. But I don't want that. I'm not interested in this filter. I want to clear that. Clear filter salesperson, and then I want to delete this option. So you just right click on it and then say hide field axis. So I want to clean up that, and then I also want to clean up this horizontal value axis. Delete that. And then I also want to remove these totals on the side, delete that. And then you can now you notice here this side our data is from highest to smallest, right, or largest to smallest, but this side is from smallest to largest, so it is just change our data. So let's try, let me see if I can be able to what you call this. So I want now to, I want the highest to be at the top and then the smallest be at the bottom. Let me see if I will be able to do that. um, Let me, where is the chart? Chart information, design, analyze, and then field list. The field list for data. Okay, let me click on this. Okay, here's another thing. I can click on that, or I can, okay, let me click there and then say that, and then say anything there. I can say, not the title though. Let's say on label, I want to get something. I want to sort, let's say more options, right? I'm looking for uh, label position. No, I'm interested in this. Then I click on that, and then say it says categorize categories in reverse order. So I want to change that. So if you check that box, so what I did was you can click on that, and then we need those fields. If you can't find the field, what I did was I clicked on this, and then I just said more on the labels there. I just said more options, so it could give me these format data labels on the side here. But I'm not interested in formatting data labels, so what I will do is you can click this data series and then check the label options. I'm not interested in label options. What I'm interested in is this. So you click on that, and then you click on the data series. Let's see axis options, and then say categories in reverse order. You see I've managed to move that, change it, put it in a reverse order. Okay, there's so many ways of doing that. And then now what I want to do is, you can see my series are small. I want to enlarge that. So you just click on them so that Excel will know that we selected them and then want to apply changes to the series. So you can see these full stop, or this these handles there at the end. And then I want to make the series bigger so that they can be visible. So I can resize them down here. Okay, by making these spaces smaller, I'll be like making them bigger. So the space in between the series is the one, the gap width, I've reduced it, which makes automatically makes this series bigger. So you can do that. First you click on this series, and then you check this side, make sure that this one is selected, and then you see the gap width down here, and then you can see it becomes bigger. All right, the labels, if you're not happy with the labels, you click there and then you say labels, and then you choose the position. If you want them inside end, maybe you want them inside end, you can keep them there. I think they look beautiful in there. And then the other thing you can do is, if you want to remove these, the grid lines, you can get rid of the grid lines there, and then you can rename this and then say, let's see, let's see what we can do with this. Say cells by rep, right? So you can see I've managed to also plot my data into a chart. So I can easily, maybe let's say I have a PowerPoint. I want to plot that into a chart for my PowerPoint. I can copy this data. I can just copy this data, copy the data, and then, oh, I can just report it as it is, right? I can take that spreadsheet, send it to my boss. Here I need to say control new just to get like a let's say I want to paste what I've created there. New slide, I just want a blank one, and then I can control V, paste my chart, and then you see I got a wonderful chart in here. Okay, let's say there I have a chart. Down here, whatever you want to do with this. Okay, cells, Then I got a beautiful chart then, whatever it is. Okay. All right. That was pivot chart, pivot tables and pivot charts, right? See you on my second video where I show you the different what you call calculations or formulas that you can use this side, because you know, like some people only know some. What if now you want to use maybe count, or you want to use average? So you can do that. Right click there and then you say value field settings. You can average your data, you can max your data. So I'll be showing you that on my next video. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was informative. See you on my next video.